How much does Tesla make in net profit? Take a wild guess. If you're less than 20%, you're a fool. You don't know what you're talking about. That's the starting point. Now you go on top of it. So when I said that Tesla could cut their profits in half and still make more money than any car company on the planet, I am not kidding you. I have the price of every detail, every screw, every nut, bolt, little teeny tiny plastic injection molding, castings.
Every chip.
But I absolutely flat out know that Tesla is probably looking at 40% gross profit.
V tomto videu Sandra Munro uvolňuje svoji zuřivost a je to opravdu epická řeč, kterou je radost sledovat. Sandy sdílí odhady jeho firmy pro ziskovost marží na modelu 3 a modelu Y ve srovnání s ostatníma automobilkama. Sandy taky sejme samozvaný odborníky, kteří si vymýšlí čísla bez jakékoliv expertízy a sdílí postřehy o prodejnách automobilů a podrobnostech o možných ziscích Tesly. Doporučuji se podívat na celý video až do konce. Dejte mě vědět, co si o něm myslíte.
What I want to do is I want to discuss a little bit about how we get what we get. This, and this, and this.
And more.
And there's two more of these things. I couldn't find them. But anyways, there's two more of these things. And if you look inside, guess what? I have the price of every detail. Every screw, every nut, bolt, little teeny tiny plastic injection molding, castings.
Every chip. This is we look at each board and look at every chip to do a bill of material for all the circuit boards as well.
So some very knowledgeable guy, I guess, he put out some stuff about how he and his friend sat down in an afternoon, and on the back of an envelope or a napkin, they figured out how much everything's going to cost at Tesla. Really? Really? At the end of the day, we know exactly how much everything costs. And we also know what things normally people buy from the outside and what Tesla is making because they're vertically integrated. I don't get too upset too often, but all we really sell is integrity. Corey and I will talk to you all day long about what we can do and how we can do it. And we have real numbers to back it up. Not a bunch of characters that somehow, even though they don't drive, they have no idea what goes inside a factory, never worked on design of any kind of a product ever in their whole life. I don't even know how many products I've helped design. I can tell you for sure, though, I'm getting worked up, so Corey.
And our numbers aren't static. So when we got the Tesla Model 3 in 2018, we costed it at that point in time with the numbers that the world had for material costs and manufacturing costs. When we did the Model Y in 2020, things had started to change. When we updated our model for the 2022 Model Y, we even took in some of the inflationary factors.
Right. Yeah.
So what's really important is you can't take numbers from a point in time in 2018 or even 2015 and just extrapolate or interpolate. You have to continually refine our craft. And that's what we do here at Munro & Associates. Yeah. We have a team of nearly 100 people that's what we are doing. We have our pulse on the wiring industry. We have our pulse on the materials that go into castings, everything, the machinery costs, the labor rates in different countries.
Even the suppliers of like Hydra and all the other different suppliers of machine tools and whatnot. We have everything. When we give you a number, it's dead accurate. There's no room for anything, for any kind of a wiggle. And we do it in a conservative way. In other words, we know that Tesla is getting aluminum cheaper than everybody else. And the reason for that is because a long time ago, they made deals with the aluminum companies, and they use special aluminums. Aluminums that only have their alloys in them. However, in order to keep it light and lively, we kind of like use what you can get off of the normal aluminum that would be sold. Yeah, the aluminum market is volatile. It goes up and down a lot. However, If you make a long-term commitment to an aluminum company, you get it at a different rate, and we know that. So what I'm going to give you are the conservative numbers we have right now, but I absolutely flat out know that Tesla is probably looking at 40% gross profit. And because they don't do any, by the way, the general accepted number for marketing and sales of a vehicle is, not sales, but marketing of a vehicle is probably somewhere around $600. The other number that you see that is kind of like different than everybody else is how much they have to pay the dealerships. They don't pay any dealerships. Now they've got the service centers and stuff like that, but that's peanuts in comparison. And quite frankly, service centers can make you money.
Yeah, and Sandy, dealerships in the state of Michigan, what are some of the richest private companies?
Not some of the richest.
The richest companies in Michigan are typically dealership networks.
That's correct.
I don't want to name them, but if you look at medium-sized businesses or privately owned businesses, it's dealership network, dealership network, dealership network, dealership network. Where did they get all of those hundreds of millions of dollars, maybe near billions of dollars if they're a large conglomerate? It's from pulling that cash off of the price of the vehicle for the last 30, 40, 50, 60 years.
Exactly. And so we look at these numbers and we say, okay, Tesla sold a vehicle for $49,000. Okay, that's what the sticker price is. But Tesla gets extra revenue. If you want to buy full self-driving, that's another 10 grand.
15 grand.
15 grand now. 15 grand. That's clean, pure profit. Does that show up in the sale? No, it doesn't. But that's where my 40% is coming from, and it may be even more than that. Tesla is rolling in dough. I don't know where they hide it or how they do what they do, but I can tell you right now, I work for several different big automotive companies in Europe, in Japan, and here in the United States. And I can tell you what, nobody can do that. Nobody, absolutely nobody. So I'm going to read off some stuff that Jordan gave me just a few minutes ago. This is the uber conservative numbers that he came up with, uber conservative. And I'm blind because of that light. I cannot read a damn thing. Can you read that?
I'll read it.
I want to know, it's 31% and 33%, right?
So we got 31% gross margin on a 2018 Tesla Model 3 long-range rear-wheel drive, pre-heat pump. And then we have a 33% gross margin on a 2022 Model Y with a heat pump. That's based on a vehicle price that's in line with the price cuts.
Yeah, yes, exactly right. So we look at that and we say, okay, that's that's the first number. And 31 and 33% is the first number. The second number is, what's the add-on, the second bite of the apple, and in some cases the third and fourth bite of the apple that Tesla gets and nobody else gets? 15 plus a couple of grand, plus a couple of grand, plus a couple of grand. And there's no cost in here, none whatsoever. Elon puts out a little tweet and says, hey, you want to get full self-driving? It costs this much. You want to get this? Want to get that? It costs this much. Want to get some of these features and functions? Want to get some of the swag that comes along with it? This much, that much. Who gets that? Nobody. Nobody. $600. Remember, I told you a second ago, $600 is what you pay for marketing of a car, and they don't have to do it. So when you look at gross margins for a normal car, you basically say, I started with, let's say somebody out there has got 30%, which they don't, 30% margin, you'd whack it, and you'd wind up at the end of the day with about 3 or 4% net profit. How much does Tesla make in net profit? Take a wild guess. If you're less than 20%, you're a fool. You don't know what you're talking about. That's the starting point. Now you go on top of it. So when I said that Tesla could cut their profits in half and still make more money than any car company on the planet, I am not kidding you. And if you don't believe that, ask the guys over at VW with the ID4. The ID4 now is $4,000 more expensive than a Model Y. Who in the hell is going to buy the Model Y, who's going to buy an ID4 if I can get a Model Y with the best charging systems on the planet, with all the right things going for it, with the fact that they're probably going to beat everybody to full self-driving? eventually.
We truly do know what things cost. And a lot of people will essentially talk based off of a napkin.
Yes. Anybody who's ever seen Pet Detective, I wanted to do it all by myself when he started talking about talking through your and but they won't let me do that here. Apparently it's degrading and the woke people will get all upset and stuff like that. So I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do the talking through my thing. But if you go to Jim Carrey, who's, kind of like a Hollywood guy, and you go to Pet Detective and you go and see him, he talks through his and that is precisely what I'm getting when I see people, the last one, I could not delete the email fast enough. I can't believe that people can be so incredibly stupid and they're the ones who are telling the market what to do. What, are you kidding me? Are you joking? This is the best move that Tesla could possibly make. They will annihilate their competition because their cars are cheaper than anybody else can make them. And now they're cheaper than that. How is anybody going to be able to compete? At the end of the day, the 40% is what I'm going to roll with because I believe that that's probably what they're going to have, maybe even more than that. And I believe that if they don't make 20%, that they might make even more, like 22, 23%
Now, I have a
net
question.
Profit.
Cybertruck. Cybertruck, not Tesla Semi.
all right.
What do you think on the Cybertruck?
Okay, so yesterday, Corey and I pulled a number out of our butts. And my number was 35%. Corey didn't tell me his. I said 35%. What did you say?
I said 37 when Farzad asked me the same question a few days ago.
Yeah.
I had a ton of qualifiers. I said, first of all, we don't have the vehicle yet.
Yeah.
We haven't costed it. I don't know what the model mix will be. So you're gonna have the quad motor, the tri motor, the dual motor. How big's the battery pack? That model mix is highly dependent on the average transaction cost, not transaction price, and the transaction price. So with my rough math, I figured out what that mix would be for cost and price, and I came to about 37%.
So here's the thing. Anytime you've got a truck, you're going to pay more money. And there's way more profit in it. If you don't think for a second that Ford's move to electrify the F-150 wasn't the most brilliant move by any automotive company apart from Tesla, any company in the world, you're out of your mind. Ford made a genius move with the F-150. Genius. And I can tell you for sure that they are moving faster on electrification than any of the other OEMs that we know of. None of them are coming out as fast with as many different versions as they possibly can. These guys they're survivor. Tesla will clobber everybody except for the Chinese. The only reason there is that even though they've reduced their costs and whatnot, there is a stigma that was created by our own government, and now Americans are losing favor in the eyes of other parts of the world, China being the one in particular. So they're probably not going to be able to eclipse them. But remember, Tesla is running at a 40-second station time. That is phenomenal. Nobody in the U.S., none that I know of. Everybody goes to about 60, and that's about it. They're doing 40 seconds. Every 40 seconds, another car is coming off the line. Nobody's got that. I believe that that's why they're talking to Indonesia. Was kind of hoping that they'd go to Canada, but Indonesia makes a lot of sense as well. They'll be able to dump into the rest of the Asian world, as it were. It'll be a little less expensive there.